What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of Retroactive over on the McCoy Culture channel. Joining me tonight is, of course, Andrew Richardson, my great co-host. We have a lot of great stuff to talk about today. He was actually fortunate enough to see Transformers Rise of the Beast. I've yet to see it, but he watched it. Spoiler alert, he loved it. We're going to talk about it briefly. Not going to go over too many spoilers because I've yet to see it, but he's eager to talk about it, so we're going to let him give us his overall non-spoiler thoughts. He might slip up something here and there, but movie's been out for the weekend. If you're like me, and you haven't seen it yet, it's kind of on us. So we've had time to see the movie. So if there's spoilers, I apologize in advance. But we also going to talk about The Witcher. An awesome trailer came out for season 3. And then, of course, all the Marvel news as far as the delays. So yeah, guys, we have a pretty cool show ahead of us tonight. I'm looking forward to talking about that with my friend here. But before we get into that, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel. Because we are currently on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I know we can do it. We just really need y'all's help. December is right around the corner. It'll be here before not really right around the corner, but it'll be here before you know it. And yeah, it's a big goal of ours. Hit that 1K sub. So do us a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Before we get started, Andrew, how's it going, my man? How's your week been going?
Things are going good. It's been a pretty slow week to start, which is fine by me. Weekends are usually my busy time, so I've just been relaxing. The wife and I are redoing the library right now, so hard at work at that. So
you're putting in a library?
Well, we have a library. It's like a smaller one, but we're expanding. We had like 3 large shelves, so we're building 3 more because we have close to 600 books that we've collected. Over that, if you include all the trade paperbacks and comics and all that kind of stuff. So
all right,
got to have a place to put it all. So
look at you, dude. I try so hard to read, and even comics. I love comics and stuff, but my brain wanders. I get 5 minutes into whatever I'm reading in my brain, and I have to read what I just read over and over again because my brain can't stay on top. I don't know if it's ADHD thing or what, but I have the hardest time staying focused when it comes to reading a book.
I get that. I had that trouble for a really long time. It took me a really long time to get into reading. Reading comics is what helped me eventually start being able to read books. And even with the books, I read along to audiobooks is what I do.
Fair enough.
So it helps me stay focused, especially, I'm a huge Star Wars guy, obviously. The Star Wars ones are great because there are certain ones that are more like audio dramas where there's multiple voice actors, and even the ones that aren't, it's not just it's not just the narrator. There's always like sound effects, music, all that kind of stuff. So it really builds the world around you, and it makes it so much easier for a person like me with ADHD to try to focus in at least for one chapter at a time.
Fair enough. What helps me when it comes to reading comics, especially now with the MCU movies and the DC movies, if I can hear the actor's voice and when I'm reading it, when I'm reading a book about Thanos, I just picture Josh Brolin's voice, and it helps me. I don't know, that helps me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. My week's been it's been work. I had 2 days off in a row, which is the first time in forever. I did absolutely nothing except I was a couch potato. I binged this entire show on Apple TV called Invasion, which I thought was really good, and I'm hoping the season 2 actually comes out. And then I finally got to watching. Did you ever check out the Finning Jacob show on Apple TV with Chris Evans?
What was it?
The Finning Jacob.
No. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about, but no, I never saw it.
Yeah, it's when his son's pretty much murdered somebody, or he's under investigation for murdering somebody, and Chris Evans is the dad. He's a lawyer. He's trying to prove his son's innocent. It's really good. I binged the whole thing in one day, and I was not ashamed. It was a great time.
And that's an Apple TV show?
Yeah. Apple TV surprisingly has a lot of good stuff. I'd subscribed to the free 3-month subscription for the first 3 months to watch that Ghosted movie, because I try to watch everything with Chris Evans. I love that man. But
how was that?
What was that?
How was Ghosted?
It's what you expected. It was fun. It was a good time.
Didn't seem like the best thing, but a fun date night movie
for free, because I haven't paid for Apple TV yet. I'm in my 3-month trial for a free movie. You can't complain. The only thing I didn't like is they made Chris Evans a doofus.
Oh yeah,
he was dumbed down, and I'm just like, dang, they're gonna do Captain America like that.
Yeah, I feel like Apple TV is like the new HBO. Like what HBO used to be when it was a network and everything like that. Like they're doing the prime television. Obviously, well, HBO is kind of still around with the whole Max thing, and they're still doing some shows. But I just feel like Apple TV is kind of taken that role
Yeah.
and ran with it.
Well, if
Really,
you
over the
have
last
Apple
couple
TV,
years.
I recommend checking out that Invasion show. If you're into sci-fi and alien stuff, it was really good. It came out 2 years ago. They finished filming season 2, but they just haven't put it out yet. I don't know why. I hope they put it out. I hope they don't pull a Netflix and just not do it, because they left the show on such a big cliffhanger. I'm like, I want to finish it. It's
Now
really
that you mention it, I think I actually saw that they released a trailer for season 2 today, or something like that. If it's the show I'm thinking of, there
Your Invasion?
was. If it's not Invasion, it's got a very similar like one word title that I saw. It was like an Apple TV one released a trailer today for something. Like, I could be wrong, but just check on that later,
Yeah, no,
because they might
I'll
have done
check
it.
on that when we get down here.
So, but
That's
yeah, that's cool.
interesting.
I'll definitely have to check out some of the Apple TV stuff. That's like the only like streaming service I haven't really tried that much, is that, because I know Ted Lasso has got a huge following, and I've heard great things about that. I think it's the morning show.
Yeah. Well,
That,
dude, if you subscribe right now, I think it's still going on. You get the first 3 months free to try it out.
yeah, and I think
So,
I have that too through like my cell provider and stuff like that.
yeah.
So I just got to get around to actually doing it.
Yeah, man. Well, speaking of things that one of us have seen, the other one hasn't, you got to see Transformers this over the weekend. What, you went Monday night and checked it out?
Yeah, I finally got to see it Monday night. Took me a little bit longer than I would have hoped, but it was surprisingly really good. Like, I had high hopes for it in the sense of, because I really enjoyed Bumblebee. That was like probably at the time I said that was the best Transformers movie since the original,
Mhm.
and I still think I like Bumblebee just a little bit more, but that's more because I love the character of Bumblebee, and it's kind of like a girl and her dog type of story. You know what I
The
mean?
only
Like,
thing with Bumblebee, like, because I know it's a reboot. It has nothing to do with the Bayformer movies,
right.
but they
Mhm.
made him look just like Bumblebee from those movies. So I felt like if they wanted people to be kind of differentiate the two a little better, they probably should have made him look a little different, because he looked just the same as he did in like the first.
It was very, very small differences, like almost unnoticeable in some aspects. But yeah, for the most part, they tried to like kind of keep it in line with what they did. They didn't do like a full rework. Whereas like Optimus had more of like his old school look when he showed up at the end of the movie,
Mhm.
and that carried over into this as well. So it's kind of like they blended a little bit more of like what the cartoon looked
Yeah,
like,
like the G1 look.
yeah, into the live action. So I think, like diehard Transformers fans are really going to appreciate that, and I think they're really going to appreciate this movie if they haven't already gone out and
Did you
seen it.
prefer the Bayformer look or the more comic G1 look they got in these movies?
I'm not super versed in Transformers to have like too strong of an opinion in that. I will say, from what I remember of like the Michael Bay movies, and then versus this one specifically, since we had a much larger cast of the Autobots and more, I liked this one. I think probably a little bit more, and especially one of the cool things about it, with it being set in the '90s, is it helped bring in that like old school flavor to it. So
Mhm.
having the older vehicles be a part of it from the '90s era, I think really played into the whole like this was a '80s '90s cartoon
Yeah, that's cool.
type of thing. So it really translated well. And it's funny, like obviously like we were born in the '90s, so we didn't live through a lot of it, but we consider ourselves, I would say we consider ourselves '90s kids, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so like we know all about that kind of
30s,
stuff.
30s
So
creeping to me, man. It's right
yeah,
around the corner. It
yeah,
makes me so
I'm a little
sad.
bit past that, but anyway, so there's a lot of fun '90s references in that, whether it's the music or like the stuff, like the different things. I'm trying to think of the word, like the different things that are going on during that time period, because it's 1994 is when it's based in,
Okay.
and there's actually even a shot, because it's New York, because of course, luckily
Always New York. Everything happens in New York.
luckily the battles and everything is in a completely different country, but it starts in New York, and you actually get a wide shot and you see the World Trade Centers, and
Okay.
that threw me for a second, because I hadn't seen anyone do that in a movie in a long time, because I know they just tried to like completely
Avoid
not
that.
like avoid, yeah, they were avoiding it even with movies based in the time period that they were still around. People just didn't want to think about it. So that was like, whoa, but it like that solidified the fact that this is 1994. This is well before everything that happened. But to get to the movie specifically, um, one of the best things about this is best way I can put it is this is the most Transformers movie that we've ever gotten, because we get so much time with not only the Autobots, but
You mean
with
it's not just constant explosions and CGI the entire time?
I mean, there's a decent amount of explosions
Well,
and a
that's what I
lot
feel
of
like with the Dave
CGI.
Former ones. Like I felt like it got to the point where they were fun. They were fun popcorn flicks, but it got to the point where it's like you didn't even know what you were looking at.
Yeah,
It was just parts of vehicles flying everywhere, and then explosions, and it was just it's hard to tell what was going on sometimes.
yeah. I mean, I'll say the final battle, it has those moments just because there is so much CGI. And there's all the like little henchmen coming after them type of thing. It's one of those moments, so it can get a little like blurry in that. But leading up to that, you like I said, you get so much time with the Autobots and a decent amount of time learning more about the Maximals, which is a really cool thing. And I didn't know that they would call them by their name. But yeah, they go by Maximals, and Optimus Primal, I think, is the leader. He was really
I was
cool.
gonna ask, how was that character?
Yeah, he was really cool. He's voiced by Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman voices him, and they had a few different like really decent voice actors. What's funny though is Bumblebee kind of takes a back seat in this one a little bit, because obviously he was like the main through line for the original ones with Michael Bay.
Yeah,
and he was always the one
film based off him.
Right, exactly, especially the first three. But this time it's centered around the main male human character, and then this new character Mirage, which is voiced by Pete Davidson.
I heard about that.
Which it's like at first you're not even sure at first when you start hearing his voice that it's him, but then as things carry on, he starts kind of doing the little quips. You're like, yeah, it's definitely Pete Davidson.
That's
but
Pete.
but it worked, honestly. Like he wasn't just, obviously he's the humor guy in this, but it wasn't just stupid joke after stupid joke after stupid joke, which in some cases, even in the original Michael Bay ones, they had those moments where it was like a dumb joke or a gag or something like that, one after the other, and it just like nothing was really going on. But like, while you have those human components, because there's always going to be a human component with the Transformers movies, I felt that it didn't detract from what was going on, whereas some of the Michael Bay ones focused way too much on the humans when all we want to see is the robots fighting. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
So I will say...
You mean you didn't enjoy seeing Megan Fox on motorcycles and stuff?
Don't say it like that. Like, you know, just...
Well, you know, you're probably going to hate me. I'm going to get judged for this. Don't get me wrong. Like, she's a beautiful woman, but I've always thought she was overhyped.
You know, I actually think I would say, and my wife agrees with me with this, so I won't get in too much trouble. She's actually more attractive now, I think, than she was back then, personally.
The older she gets, but still, like I just think she's like I said, she's a beautiful woman. She's like, I agree, she's more attractive now than she was back then. I just think back then, like when the first movie came out, there was just like all this hype around her, like she was this giant.
I'll say this: at least in the first and second movie when she was around, she actually did something. Whereas when they got to the third one and replaced her with like his new girlfriend, all she did was sit around and scream. She did nothing for the movie itself, and like did not really play a part. Whereas like Megan Fox's character was a badass and like actually got some stuff done because she was a mechanic and everything like that. So at least I will say that yes, they did maybe like over sexualize her a little bit.
And then got that horrible Ninja Turtle movie with Michael Bay. So.
yeah. They
I heard there was some drama on that set for her. That's why she quit, from what I heard. And then they rekindle things, and he offered her Ninja Turtles, and that didn't do too well. And then
you know, I didn't hate the first one. The second one wasn't very good, but I didn't hate the first one. The looks of the Ninja Turtles weren't fantastic, but like when you're going to do a live action, I kind of get it. Like there's only so much you can do in that sense.
It's giant turtles. There's
really only so much you can do, and that's what like disappointed me about the second ones. They bring in Casey Jones, and they've got Stephen Amell coming to play Casey Jones, which I'm like, oh yeah, that totally fits. And then the movie comes out, I'm like, womp womp, you know. But anyway, one last thing I'll say about Transformers before we move on is something that's been going around the internet a lot. Spoilers for anyone that doesn't know. So the main character, you know, they always play at least a solid role throughout the movie. At the very end of the movie, he gets a job interview, and it looks like a normal job interview. Come to find out, it's not. Long story short, they tease G.I. Joe. at the end of this movie. And so there's now a tease of a crossover G.I. Joe Transformers movie. And it's something that they're talking about and working on. The director of this one is I don't know if he's going to do the crossover, but he has talked about doing another Transformers movie to continue this on. So I don't know
if how would that even work?
So everything's getting rebooted. Everything that's come before.
No, but like,
is like,
do those franchises even mesh? I mean, I get it, like the whole military.
They have cartoons, they have comic books. They've done this before. Like this has happened because it's all Mattel, if I remember correctly. Is I think it's Mattel. It's one of the toy companies. Hasbro. That's what it is. Hasbro owns all of these. And so they've done stuff like this before. And so they've done toy lines. They've done, like I said, comic books, and I think at least one cartoon or more. Where these
G.I. Joe Transformers crossover?
Yeah. And I know specifically they've done the comics ones. I've actually seen it in the comic shops before. So yeah, they've done these crossovers. And the reason that it kind of works, and this is kind of plays into like what happens in the movie. I don't want to spoil it too much for anybody, but there's a moment in the movie where you kind of feel like, oh, I think I kind of understand now how that would work as far as them teaming up. It is a little bit odd to think about these giant Transformers and then these, human people just like, yeah, let's fight the same thing together. But I think everything that they've tried to do with G.I. Joe, including when they tried to like restart with the Snake Eyes Origins, I think is what it was called.
Okay, yeah.
They just didn't hit. And of course, the second G.I. Joe.
They had like The Rock and everything in those, right? It was The Rock.
That was the second movie. So there was G.I. Joe and then G.I. Joe 2, which was, I think, called Retaliation. And
that's Channing Tatum in one of them?
Channing Tatum was technically in both, but they killed him off in the first 5 minutes of the second movie. And he was the only return person from the original movie. Everyone else did not return, but they made it. If I remember correctly, the story was they killed everybody from the G.I. Joe teams, and the only ones remaining was The Rock and like 3 other people were the only G.I. Joes that remained. And so that's why that movie was just absolutely garbage.
That sounds bad.
Yeah, so it was the era of Rock doing every sequel that nobody wanted to do type of thing. Like Journey to 2 or whatever, when they did like Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Rock's still doing that. So.
You're not wrong. Like he's coming back
we need to bring up Black Adam. Like that man.
I mean, that's the only reason he's coming back to the Fast and Furious franchise because he's not Black Adam anymore. So
yeah, well, I thought him and Vin Diesel had beef, and that's why he wouldn't do it. But
they do, but they squashed it because he doesn't have anything going on right now. Like as far as like for sure guaranteed big money, all he has to do is show up for a few weeks type of thing, and he can make bank type of thing. He doesn't have that in his pocket right now. He doesn't have any major franchises going at this moment. He has a couple things in the fire as far as possible sequels to movies that are existed, but they're not huge IPs like Fast and Furious, DC, things like that. So now that DC fell through, I
didn't care to go see it in theaters. It's on Amazon now. You can rent it for like $18. So
that's so high. That's
yeah, but it's cheaper to go in the movies, man. Like I took Little Man.
Go on $5 Tuesday, man. $5 Tuesday.
Well, I took Little Man to go see Across the Spider-Verse, and just for me and him, because granted he wanted the Cinemark, Spider-Man popcorn bucket and cup and stuff, but just for taking me and my 8-year-old, it was like $75.
Oh,
I'm not gonna spend that on Fast and Furious.
No,
I'll spend $18, but I ain't gonna spend that.
If you're using that logic, then yes, I understand. All right, but what I would say is if you're a fan of the Transformers movies, or even if you're curious, especially if you saw Bumblebee and liked what you saw there, go out, check out this movie. I don't want to spoil too much for you guys. I'll just say it was good. I would give it probably like a 7 out of 10.
Fun. Well, there you guys have it. You heard it from Andrew. Like I said, I've yet to see it. I'm planning on going to see it soon. The next thing on my list right now is The Flash. So that kind of has priority over it. There's actually a lot of good movies coming out, so I have to kind of figure out where I'm going to fit that in. But maybe if it's too much time hasn't passed, we'll have a spoiler talk about it, because I know there's a lot of Transformer fans. But you guys let us know down below in the comments what you guys think of Transformers Rise of the Beast. If you guys have seen it yet, if you haven't, if you loved it, you hated it, and let us know your rating down below. We want to hear from you guys. And that being said, we got another cool announcement coming out, and that is, of course, for the Netflix series The Witcher. Now, me personally, I'm a huge fan of this. I love this show. I'm really, really upset about the news we got that unfortunately after this season, Henry Cavill will not be returning. That part kind of sucks. But I'm overall, I'm a huge fan of this show. I'm a big Henry Cavill fanboy. You can ask my girlfriend or fiance now because we just got engaged. I got to get used to that still.
Woohoo!
But
Congratulations.
thank you, man. But I got it. You can ask her. She thinks it's weird how much of a session I have with Henry Cavill. But Henry Cavill, The Witcher, it's a phenomenal combination. I know he's a huge nerd, a big fan for it. I heard, unfortunately, he's leaving because he feels like they're too. Everybody thought it was for Superman, but it really wasn't. From what I heard, they're kind of going too far away from the source material, and he's not too happy where they're heading with it. So that's why he decided to part ways with it. And I guess Liam Hemsworth now, if I remember correctly, is going to be the new Geralt on The Witcher.
Yep, supposedly.
But yeah, the new show comes out, and the part one, because they're Netflix is back to doing this thing where they got two parters, comes out on June 29th, and then part two of it comes out on July 27th. Again, I'm personally super hyped for this show. Are you a big fan of this show? Have you caught up? Have you watched the first and second season?
Absolutely. So I not only watched the first couple seasons, but it made me want to go out and read the books. So over the last few months, I think 6 months, I've been reading through the novels slowly but surely. I've got technically 2 books left, but the final book that was released was kind of like a side quest type of thing. It's not necessarily part of the full continuity. So really, I only have 1 book of the like continuity based series story type of thing is about to wrap up. But like you mentioned, they've kind of distanced themselves from the source material. Obviously, there's still some things there. There's, especially in the first season, there all those like, they jump around a lot in the timeline.
Yeah, I remember being very confused at that.
I was super confused. But I was like, I know I like this, but I really hate that I don't know what's happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know what's lining up with which.
And then you finally get, like, I think it's the end of the season when you finally realize, okay, this is here, and this is here. You know what I mean? But there's like literally 3 timelines going on at the same time. And that kind of stuff infuriates me, especially when it's not, blatantly told to you that that's what's happening. But there's a lot of that stuff that's in the first couple of books, because a lot of the first 2 books is kind of like that side questing. Like he goes for the dragon, he does this, like he meets Yennefer, and there's the like first even before Yennefer, there's the first girl that
Yennefer,
he meets.
though, man, look at the that's a character right there.
Yeah,
like they went from like what the hell is this to dear God, dear God in a good way.
Can you? It's like it's. Obviously, this is a less dramatic version, but it's kind of like when if the first time you see like Princess Diaries and they ugly up Anne Hathaway like as much as they possibly can, and then just bring her back to her normal self where she's just like gorgeous. Like that's basically what they had to do here, but like 10 times worse.
Yeah, she was like a troll with like a giant lump on her back and everything, and then next you know she's like this gorgeous goddess witch lady, and it's just okay.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. It's been a great series, like you said. I'm super bummed that Henry Cavill's leaving, and but I understand his reasoning behind it. Like, if he's that, into the source material, and they don't want to go with that, and they just want to kind of do their own thing, kind of like a Game of Thrones situation. But the difference is Game of Thrones had to continue because the books weren't out. Like they didn't have any more source material to pull from. Whereas they have source material to pull from. There's a total of 8 books that they could have done for this series, or at least 7 of them. And not to mention some of the stuff that the games do, which like tie in but aren't necessarily like beholden to specifically everything that's done with the books. Those are more true adaptations of the novels than the TV show is, though. They just have to have the free reign for like, oh, if the person does this, it changes the story a little bit, but we all get to the same ending. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's one of those things that I'm so disappointed about.
Yeah, well, he's happy now because he's a big Warhammer fan, and he's doing that Warhammer show on Amazon that he has like full reign over, and I know he's pretty hyped for that. This man needs a break. He is like, he is so special, and he just keeps getting like done dirty by all these court, like Netflix, Warner Brothers, between Superman and Geralt. Like he just keeps getting done dirty, and he's such a good actor, man. He has so much range. And I heard that. I don't know. I doubt it's true, but if it was true, I would be so on board for it. But when I heard that his name was connected to Doctor Doom for the MCU, I was like, please, I want to see a Henry Cavill Doom. That would be great because I think he could play. It'd be cool to see him play a villainous character because, like, you can say Geralt kind of is, but he's more of an anti-hero thing.
Yeah.
He's not really good. He's not really evil. And then superhero is, Boy Scout. He played kind of he was kind of evil-ish in the Mission Impossible film, if I remember correctly. But like, it'd be interesting to him to see him take on a very menacing villain type role that we'd be able to see. So hopefully that's the case. But I know he's happy. He's gonna do Warhammer. I absolutely know nothing about it. I know it's a game. you do these little painted characters.
Yeah, like a tabletop game.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons, from my understanding. So I mean, I'll check out the show. I know nothing about it. It's Henry Cavill. I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't really know anything about Dungeons and Dragons, but when I went to see the movie, I enjoyed that. So
I've yet to see that too. I'm so behind on movies right now, and we have.
This is a movie podcast, man.
That's I'm so behind right now. I got a lot of catching up. Luckily, I think Dungeons and Dragons is on Paramount now.
It is.
So I can watch it there. And then I'm gonna watch Fast 10 on Amazon. I gotta watch the Transformers. You have yet to see The Equalizer, so that's okay. Or Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So
that was coming one way or another. So,
yeah.
What did you think of the trailer that they dropped for the new season, though?
Oh, I think it looked great. It's pretty much, it has that same tone to it. I forget the one guy's name that tossed a coin to your Witcher. The guy.
Yeah.
He looks different. Like his hair's like his hair's a lot longer. They did like some makeup. They kind of changed his whole look. Geralt looks exactly the same. So I'm pretty excited. The story it looks like a lot more monsters. I just hope it's a nice send off for. I know they're going to continue the series with Liam, but I hope it's a nice send off for Henry.
Yeah, I think the character's name is Yaskir or something like that.
That's not familiar. I should know.
But the funny thing is, in the books, he goes by a different name. His stage name is Dandelion. Dandelion. They don't use it in the TV show, but every time I'm reading the book, they're like,
that's why he's leaving, because they didn't call him Dandelion. That's the exact reason why Henry Cavill is leaving The Witcher.
Whatever time I read that, I had to remind myself. I'm like, oh, that's the guy with the
guy that sings nonstop.
that sings all the time. Yeah. But yeah, it looks really good. Like you said, hopefully it's the send off he deserves. And honestly, personally, I wouldn't be upset if they just ended the show after this, but that's just me personally.
I wish they would, to be honest with you, because it's gonna feel weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna feel like it's gonna feel like we're watching a reboot or something when Liam gets one. I think they should have just ended it, but they want this show. This show brings money, but I feel like the show it's a good show because it's a great game, it's a great story and everything, but I think people watch it for Henry Cavill.
Yeah, I also think if they were
the love you can tell the love he puts in this character.
Yeah,
and that's what draws people to it. Like, so I think without Henry Cavill leaving this show is gonna kind of hurt it in a way.
I agree. I think if they were going to continue it, now, mind you, like I said, I haven't finished the final book, but my assumption is, I would assume The Witcher probably doesn't make it out of the final story, and I could be wrong, but let's say that in the books he dies. So like, if they wanted to go that route and then just continue the story of Ciri, because there's a lot of stuff they haven't gotten to with Ciri from the stuff that I've read in the novels. There's a lot of her story that they kind of skipped over, and some adventures that she goes on herself, like essentially becoming her own Witcher. Like, I know she gets the training in the show and stuff like that. But
did you notice the age jump she got in season 2 though?
Yeah.
When you watch season 1 and you watch season 2, there wasn't a big gap between the two, but she looks like two different people. It's the same actors, but she looks like two. Like, PB hit her hard. Like,
it's kind of like people. It's kind of like Stranger Things. Like when they got around to like season 3 and stuff like that. At that point, there was like, it felt like a huge age jump, even though it had been like a year.
It was very noticeable.
Yeah, that's kids for you for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Before we move on, though, there's this company called for those of you who know, Andrew's learning about it. He's into it a little bit with his pops and stuff. Obviously, with these things back here, I'm into the whole high-end collectible statue realm. there's this company called Blitzway. A lot of times they team up with Prime One, but right now it's just Blitzway. In honor of the Witcher Season 3 trailer, they announced finally that The Witcher is finally getting some love in statue form, and they decided to show us their first reveal of there's 2 versions of this. It's a quarter scale, so for those of you who don't know, quarter scale means it's 4 times smaller than the average person, and then there's third scale, which is a little bigger, but they that's kind of for size preference, so you can see the guy's arms and hands. I think this looks phenomenal, and then that Henry Cavill portrait is just kind of like, look at that, man. That is
spot on,
glorious. Now this is a prototype. We don't know production will come out this great, but if it does, this is gonna be tempting. All my stuff's Marvel, but like this is tempting because, like I said, I'm a huge Cavill fanboy. So I don't know. I was tempted. That was just something I kind of want to throw in there. I thought was interesting. It kind of came out in honor of the trailer and whatnot. I know this isn't Andrew's cup of tea for the most part, but hey, he was on the Toy Quest podcast like 2 weeks ago and got to learn about some Lord of the Rings stuff. You know, that's gonna make him want to watch the movies.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I enjoy this series and the books and all that kind of stuff, this would definitely tempt me, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I just thought that was pretty cool. Hey, guys, you let us know down below. Are you guys super excited about The Witcher Season 3? Are you as bummed as we are that Henry Cavill is leaving the project and moving on to bigger and better things, sadly? I really hope he gets the love he deserves in Hollywood. This man really needs a break. He needs a big role. He just needs to come to the MCU, play Doom. That's all I care about. Just be our Dr. Doom. But let us know down below how excited you are for The Witcher Season 3. And to jump into our next topic, today actually, you guys are probably going to be watching this a few days after this, but today, Marvel announced a bunch of delays in their slates with a bunch of their upcoming movies. A lot of it's rumored to do with the writer's strike. There was a director's strike coming, but they kind of worked it out before it happened, and now there's an actor strike on the rise on the July 1st. So I think it has a lot to do with all these, you know, the strikes and everything. Hollywood just needs to pay these people what they deserve. From what I hear, these people work endless hours, sleeping in the studios, and they're like not getting paid much. And the writers are realistically, I know people talk about the actors and the directors, but realistically, at the end of the day, the writers are, I think, the key, the most important part to any show,
absolutely,
to any movie. They need to be treated right. So I'm all for people getting what they deserve to get paid. It sucks that we have to get these delays and whatnot, but it's for a good cause. Like if we want better stories in the futures, we have to let these people know that they're appreciated and give them what they're worth. But we're gonna go over a little bit. So a lot of the date changes for the MCU movies, and there was one good thing that happened. So last week, just one out of all these delays, one good thing. Last week we got the title reveal for Captain America: New World Order, which was changed to Brave New World, and they just said that it was coming out in May of 2024. Well, a week later, they just changed everything again, and so instead of getting Captain America: Brave New World in May, we're actually going to get the new Deadpool 3 movie on May 3rd in 2024. And honestly, for me, I thought I was hyped when I saw this because all the stuff I'm hearing about this movie has me super excited. One, Hugh Jackman Wolverine's back. That alone sells it for me. They're going to be hopping. The TVA is going to be involved from Loki. Owen Wilson's going to be in it. The wow guy. He's going to be in it. So I'm pretty excited for that. There's a lot of rumored cameos as far as old X-Men characters. And from what I'm gathering, this movie is to bring all the X-Men characters from like the Fox universe up into the 616 to be a part of Secret Wars. Because if I'm hearing correctly, the reason why we have no X-Men right now is because even though Disney bought Fox, there's under contract right now that they can't use any new X-Men characters, like recast them until after 2025. If they use any X-Men characters, it has to be the actors from the Fox universe. So instead of having a Secret Wars without any X-Men, they're like, okay, let's just bring in, because it's all multiverse, let's just bring in the X-Men that people grew up with. So I think that's what this movie is tying all that together, whether it's those exact characters or variants, but those actors' portrayal is going to be in Secret Wars, which I think is pretty hyped. How excited are you for Deadpool, man?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited. I love, especially the first movie. The first Deadpool just completely blew me away. Did not expect, like, the trailers were great, but I just did not expect for it to be as good as it was.
The first one's better than the second one. Well, I'll say that.
I agree. But the second one still has its moments. There's just a couple things that kind of fell flat for me with that one.
Where they messed up with the second one is, and I think they did it with Solo too. They put out Deadpool 2 and Solo right after or right around the same time as Avengers Infinity War.
Mm.
That was the dumbest thing I felt like they could have done, because like
Yeah.
those movies didn't do too well in the box office, and I think it's because of that. You put them out with like Infinity War and Endgame were the two most anticipated movies that I can honestly think of in my lifetime that actually got everybody who is not even into this stuff and wanting to go see this movie for the most part. So I feel
Yeah.
like I think that had a lot to do with why the movie, aside from some of the writing choices, why the movie struggled as much as it did. But I'm sorry to cut you
Yeah.
off.
No, I was just gonna say that my biggest thing with that, I just really didn't like the kid character that they focused on.
Oh yeah, he's annoying.
He was so annoying.
Fire Fist.
Yeah. So that was my biggest gripe of the whole movie.
The
like,
Juggernaut and Colossus fight was awesome though.
that was yeah, big
That was
CGI
fun.
fight. Let's go. You know.
And I love Domino, the actress that played Domino. I loved her. She was great.
She was great. And but Deadpool 3, yeah, super excited about it. I mean, how can you not be, especially with the return? Even if it was just Hugh Jackman returning, like they
and he's
announced.
gonna get the yellow suit. We're gonna see our boy in the yellow suit.
We're doing
and
it.
It's supposed to be like a buddy cop film. Like
yes,
like they're on a road trip or whatever through the multiverse, and they have the TVA sending them on missions and stuff.
It's exactly what they need to do, honestly.
I think it's called the Ultimate Universe. There's a comic run. I think it's called the Ultimate Universe, where Magneto actually killed all the Avengers and the X-Men, and he has Mjolnir, and he's like ruling that universe. So there's a rumor that they're gonna visit that universe, either to recruit that Magneto or to take out that Magneto. I don't know. The rumors are so back and forth with that. The villain of the movie is rumored to be Danger, which is basically from the Danger Room that the X-Men fight in. It's like an AI that kind of turns into a villain from it's Danger from the Danger Room. So I don't like I said, this is all rumors, nothing's been confirmed. But I'm super excited. All you have to tell me, like I said, is we finally get to see Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman together on scene and those respective roles. And I think that's what's gonna sell it. And I really, even though there's not all the speculation that No Way Home had, I feel like this movie is gonna get the No Way Home treatment as far as everybody rushing out to see this movie.
Yeah, I agree. I remember when the rumors first started hitting that they were going to start getting other people from the X-Men, Fox universe, that people were like, "Oh, are they going to do Deadpool kills the Fox universe?" And
I would have
like,
loved that personally.
As great as that sounds, there's no way Disney's going to do that.
No, I feel like if they were able to use recast the X-Men characters, if that contract thing's true, like I don't really know.
Yeah,
that's what everybody says. If that's the case, they probably would have done it if they were able to use their version of the X-Men, but they can't do it yet.
Right. Yeah. So with that being said, even if most of the people are just cameos or like just small role type of things popping in and out because of the whole multiverse type of stuff, it's still going to be great because it's going to be, nostalgia trip like No Way Home was for us with the different Spider-Man. But then you've also got the buddy cop angle with two people that we've wanted to see on the big screen together for a very long time, not Wolverine Origins withstanding. And
do we? I wonder if remember from what I'm hearing, remember at the end of Deadpool 2 when he
kills him, yeah.
Well, yeah, when he goes back in time with the watch, like that's what they're gonna connect to the TVA. Him going back in time and so I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. I like how they did that.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. That was so funny. How he kills that version of Deadpool, and then he shoots himself.
Yes. Oh yeah, for the
Green Lantern thing. It was so that was one of the best parts of the whole movie, and it was at the very end of the movie. But that whole sequence at the end. Apparently, there was an extended version of that where he goes back in time and kills baby Hitler. that they took out at the very end.
I'm not surprised, man. Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't do a Thanos thing.
Yeah,
I know they referenced him. They called him Thanos, the Cable Thanos in the movie. But it would have been cool if they did something like that. But
yeah, I just really want with obviously this is gonna be rated R. If and when they finally have Deadpool show up in something general, direct MCU related. Whether it be an Avengers movie or something like that he pops in, even if it's just Secret Wars, what they got to do is bleep his cuss words, but do it where he knows it type of thing. He goes to say the F word and it's just bleep. And he's like, what the bleep is going on? Oh, freaking Disney, just like like that kind
That
of
would
thing.
actually be pretty funny.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because if you're gonna do it and you're gonna have to dial him back a little bit, you got to make fun of it. You got to let him make fun of that
himself.
situation. Yeah, exactly. That's like the best way to do it. Otherwise, you're just watering down a really fantastic character.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see that Disney, Marvel, all that kind of stuff, like they're willing to take these risks, if you will, and not water down these characters like that. And they're still back and forth on what Blade's going to be, but it needs to be rated R.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
Got the Blade date. We can skip ahead of that one. It comes
Yeah.
out on Valentine's Day in 2025. It's going to be the second film to be R-rated, just like Deadpool.
That's a perfect Valentine's Day movie right there.
It really is, man.
Sexy
really
vampires,
is.
man. We're bringing it back,
But like, just like with like you were saying about watering down the character and keeping it like Blade is a perfect version of that too. Hershey Ali and what's his name? Punisher. Why am I drawing a blank?
John Bernthal.
Yeah, John Bernthal. Wow. They both said that they won't, like, if they water down the characters, if they don't let them be the true character, they're not going to come back and do it. So the fact that John Bernthal is doing it, this movie, Blade, has been delayed so many times because Hershey Ali read the script. He's like, nah, this ain't it.
Yeah,
So
I think that's probably part of it is that whole staying true to the character and sticking to the rated R thing. Like, it doesn't have to be ridiculous and grotesque. No one's asking for that. But you need to be able to take things.
We are asking for that.
Well, what I mean is you just need to be able to take it to that next level and push it past the general PG-13.
I just don't want him to get the Moon Knight treatment because Moon Knight's a very vicious, gory, like grotesque. Like he's a I don't know. They really dialed him back. Sorry, there's like a fly.
No, it's okay. I mean, you're right though. That is probably the darkest character that we've gotten from the MCU, and they still had to kind of like mild a few parts. There's some really dark, deep things, but it's more because of his psychological thing as opposed to the viciousness of the character.
Like, they would like not show us all the fight scenes. Like he would black out and be done. I'm like, y'all should have showed us all that.
Yeah, he wakes up and there's
barely any Moon Knight in the Moon Knight show.
Yes, that's true.
If you really think about it, we didn't get a lot of scenes of him in the suit.
That's why we need season 2
for the most part, but
we need a season 2 for that.
They've announced that we're getting season 2.
I know, but I just want it sooner rather than later because I really loved that show. Like for the character study of that was just fantastic with all the different psychological elements of it. Yes, it was a little annoying with the whole blackout, wake up, there's dead bodies everywhere thing, but I'll give it a pass for the sense of like how much I enjoyed it, and I just hope that going forward we can have a little bit less of that and see more of it. So.
I feel like with that show, I know we're a little off topic here, but I feel like with that show in particular, I think they could have left the Scarlet Scarab character out. You know, she got powers at the end. At least to season 2, because this was his debut show.
You're right.
And you're introducing a whole new character in his show when we're just getting familiar with this character.
Right.
Which I know that was the whole Phase 4 mindset. They were just trying to get stuff out. And I know they were really heavy, which is fine because there's a lot of great female characters, but that was like one of the main focus is to get more female characters out. But I felt like they could have introduced her in maybe season 2 and give him Moon Knight as actual full to be about him.
Or maybe just tease it at the end of the season type of thing.
Give us like where she gets the post-credit scene where she gets the powers in the post-credit scene or something.
Kind of like they did
like she's involved with it, which is
like
fine,
WandaVision.
I just felt like the show's Moon Knight. We didn't get a lot of Moon Knight in it, and then you're going to introduce a whole new character for the third act.
Right.
I just thought it was a little weird.
But back to the dates.
Back to the dates. We got a lot of other great things aside from Deadpool and Blade. Captain America: Brave New World, which was just changed to May 3rd a week ago, is now coming out July 26, 2024. And then the follow-up to that is, of course, the Thunderbolts at the end of 2024, which honestly, I'm pretty hyped for both of these movies. There's a lot of rumors for them. I know we've talked about them already a lot, especially with Captain America, with all the Hulk rumors and everything like that. And then when it comes to Thunderbolts, they're going to introduce Adamantium. I can never say that word right. Like they're finally going to start getting hints at Wolverine, and they're going to finally, what we've been talking about in all Phase 4, like ever since Eternals, nobody's talked about the Celestial and the water and the ocean. Now they're finally going to talk about it, and that's where Adamantium is going to come from. Like it's going to be Tiamat Island, and that's going to be like a main central point of
You're so close. Anna
Adamantium. Yeah, okay. My bad.
You're throwing the
Adamantium.
T just a little too early. It's fine.
But so yeah, no, there's a lot of cool things teased for these movies. I'm pretty hyped for it. Mainly I'm excited to see Thunderbolt Ross as Red Hulk. And I wonder what his role, because he's in the comics, he runs the Thunderbolt. So I'm kind of curious how that whole connection is going to go.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm just
saw
excited to see Florence Pugh Pugh again.
Pew pew.
Helena.
I saw a clip today of Harrison Ford in an interview because they're doing a lot of the press for the Indiana Jones movie coming out, and I think it was comicbook.com was interviewing him, and she's like, I have to ask you because I work for comicbook.com. Are we, everyone was talking about the set photo with you and the new Captain America, and we see that you have ripped pants on. Does that mean that we're gonna get Red Hulk? And he just looks at his cast member for Indiana Jones. It has nothing to do with the MCU. And he goes, "What's a Red Hulk?" And he and then she's like, "I don't know." And so the girl, the interviewee is sorry, the interviewer is explaining to him that, like, in the comic books, Thunderbolt Ross becomes a Red Hulk, and he again turns to his sorry, it cracks me up thinking about it. You gotta go look it up. Like, you guys, everybody has to look up this clip. He just looks at his person again, and he goes, "Did you know this? Why did nobody tell me this?"
He knows. They did the same thing, like
with Star Wars and everything like that. But because he's such an a-hole, he just, like, he knows how to play it, and he knows how to, like, play nonchalant. And like
Patrick Stewart did the same thing for Multiverse of Madness. He was like, he was Doctor Strange. So,
I know.
They all do it.
I know, but just the way his delivery is just fantastic, because you can tell, like, just a little bit that he's screwing with somebody, but if someone didn't know better, they would believe him that he's just completely clueless of what's happening.
I'm just shocked he's doing it, as much as he hated Star Wars, and I don't think he likes the attention for whatever reason. I'm shocked he's joining the MCU, which is crazy.
It is very, very confusing in that sense. There's no way to really explain it, to be honest with you.
I'm excited to see it, though.
And I was surprised that they casted him, if nothing else, because of his age. Like,
yeah, I'm a little nervous about that. Like, do we really want to risk nothing against him because he's a great actor?
But we don't need this to happen a second time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, should we? I don't know.
It was a very bold choice to go with someone that I think was actually older than the original actor.
I think Marvel is just kind of in a weird spot right now, because after coming off Phase 4, and they're known for making household names with their projects, but now I think to try to bring the hype,
they lost
back
their
to
star powers and stuff like that.
They don't have Chris Evans. Chris Hemsworth is still there, but we all know how Thor: Love and Thunder, and even Thor, like Chris,
and he's in the background.
Yeah. Even in his most recent interview and stuff, he even agrees that the movie was too silly. His kids make fun of him for it. Like, his kids' friends make fun of him for it. Like, he's well aware of the criticism, and he says he'll only come back if they change up the character and make him more serious again, kind of like Infinity War and whatnot, which I'm all here for. But I lost my train of thought there. Happens every time. But no, what was what was I getting at with that?
We were talking about star power. And
I don't know. Like, sorry, that was it's like 12 o'clock. I'm sleepy, sorry. But they need it to kind of bring the hype back to the MCU and whatnot. And again, that also leads into another thing with the Fantastic Four that comes out May 2nd, 2025. I think another reason why they're pushing for such strong star power for this one, between Margot Robbie, Adam Driver, which apparently they're back to the negotiation boards. Everything is up, like, from what I'm hearing, even Adam Driver, because you got to think, if they're going for big Hollywood names, they're going to want big paydays. And if you're paying each actor, let's say $20 million, it's $80 million in the movie budget just for your main cast. Not
to mention you're contractually obligating them to multiple films.
Yeah. So like, if Adam Driver is going to be Mr. Fantastic, you have to give him $20 million per movie. He's doing 5 movies. You're paying this man $100 million. Like, so I think from what I'm hearing from industry insiders that they're still obviously in the running, but they're also considering other people. So I think they're so back and forth with Fantastic forecasting. But again, that goes back to my whole thing where they're wanting star power to kind of bring hype back to it. Because if you see Margot Robbie and Adam Driver on a poster together, it's going to draw the average moviegoer to the
And it's like the movies might not have been breaking the bank in the same way as some of the previous entries, but I mean, freaking Endgame made what, like over $2 billion by
Mhm.
itself. That's just that one movie, let alone all the movies that have come out over the last over a decade. So and they're backed by Disney, so it's not like Disney doesn't have money. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
understand. I understand it from a business standpoint that you got to be smart with it. You got to plan, not necessarily plan to fail, but you got to have fail safes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you got to be smart with the money because there's all this money that has to go into production and advertising and all this other back end stuff that doesn't even necessarily, obviously production does, but
The average
advertising.
big budget movie nowadays costs about 200 million
Right.
minimum.
And a lot of times, because they'll say that the production budget is 100 or 150 million, but then they spend an extra 50 million on just advertising alone.
Yeah.
So like that's where a good chunk of it comes right there. So whenever you see, you go to look up a movie online, like what was the budget for this? A lot of times that budget doesn't even factor in what they spent on advertising and everything along those lines. So you always need to tack on a little bit there. So that's why they say a movie has to make 2.5 times its budget to be considered a success, because they got to make everything back and then some and then more.
That's why The Flash might be struggling, because that movie has had so many reshoots. They spent a lot on marketing and whatnot.
Tons on marketing.
If I'm hearing right, people are thinking between everything that they probably spent anywhere between 350 million to 500 million for this movie.
Oh my God.
So like, I don't know what the exact number is. They hasn't been reported, but that's what, like, when I'm watching other people's podcasts, like,
yeah,
people are between those two numbers. And I'm just like, and the movie is only expected to opening weekend 75 million.
Yeah.
So like,
and then
if it actually is close to that 350, $500 million range, this movie has a lot of work to do.
And it's got so much competition because it's summer.
Yeah.
Just movie after movie after movie. Whereas like when the second Avatar movie finally came out in, I think it was December, it really didn't have that much competition because it's December. Like there's a handful of movies, but they're typically like holiday movies or family movies. Yeah. So like it had room to breathe. It could be in the theaters for a couple of months and not get pushed out. So like that, I think they said it was like James Cameron spent like $1 billion because he filmed the second and third movie consecutively. So he spent $1 billion between the two. But the second movie made that and then some, like, obviously. Yeah. So he's good. Everything past that, including the next movie, is pure profit, just like it was for.
But they'll probably, because I think that movie got delayed too by like a year.
All of them. So there's three more sequels for Avatar that are set because they're making 5 total as of right now, and each one got pushed back like another year. So the next one's not even coming until 2025, and then it was 2029 and 2031, which I can't even think that far ahead.
Yeah. Well, speaking of thinking that far ahead, unfortunately, with these delays, we all knew it was coming. Avengers Kang Dynasty got pushed back to May 1st, 2026. And then, God, this one hurt the most. Avengers Secret War, May 7th, 2027. Bro, I don't even, like, I can't even think that. What is that? That's 4 years away. I'm going to be, like, hitting 33 while trying to watch this movie in the theaters.
Dude, how do you think I feel? Like, I'm gonna be at the point now,
like, a lot can happen. I just want to make sure I'm alive in the next 4 years to see this movie. Stop pushing it back.
Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh, how old am I gonna be? 2027. I'm gonna be like 30, 35. Oh God, I don't know. I don't want to think about it. But regardless of my age, yeah, that hurts a lot. Now, like we talked a little bit before we started recording that, like, I feel like we were destined for some delays, if nothing else, because of all the Kang issues that they're dealing with.
Well, not even just that, with Kang, and then I cannot pronounce his name. Now they're having issues with the actor who played Namor.
Yeah, I saw that
sexual assault charge him too. I'm just like, dang, Marvel can't catch a break.
No, they can't catch a break.
And I'm just gonna say it. They didn't have these issues with their original Avengers. They didn't have this issue with Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. Black Widow. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's
true.
All
these new people come in. They stir up trouble for Kevin
Robert
Feige.
Downey Jr. had his crazy run in his
early but that was before years. The MCU.
No, I was saying he got that out of his system way sooner. So by that's why they took a risk on him when they hired him.
Folks, they just be causing issues for little old Feige.
Yeah, it's such a headache, and hopefully that one also is like, unfounded or whatever. I don't want to speak too much to it because I don't know the details, but that one's getting a lot less traction than the Jonathan Majors one.
Well, yeah, because
did.
Namor isn't a main big like Kang is the big bad of his entire phase.
Yeah,
He's
yeah. No, I know. I'm just saying.
that's why.
Yeah, I'm just saying I didn't see it as in as many trades going out about it because I don't know that there's as much like substantial evidence in that regard. Right now it's strictly a he said she said situation from my understanding, but I haven't researched too much into it and I don't really want to be honest with you. But worst comes to worst with that's a much easier situation to work around in my opinion than the whole Kang thing. That one is just wrecking them left and right now. So
but I think it also works. These delays also work in their favor because they don't. I think Disney is playing the long game with Jonathan Majors. I think they actually want to see what happens in court before they make their decision. So the fact that these things get delayed, they don't have to worry about recasting him just yet because it's King Dynasty so far. I mean, I don't know what their plans were as far as including him in other movies. That might get messed up, but as far as the actual King Dynasty film goes, they have more time to figure out what they're going to do, if they're going to recast, if they're going to scrap the whole King thing in general and do something completely else. I don't know how they would do that. I'm not sure what they're going to do with that situation, but I think Disney, which is surprisingly, because they're usually the first ones to, let people go for this kind of stuff, they're kind of keeping it close to their chest and not saying much and waiting to hear what actually happens in court. So
I know you're all about getting Dr. Doom in this. So like, what if Dr. Doom came in, killed Kang, and he was the new, like he had
Henry Cavill Doom. That's all I want.
Yeah. So like, even whether it's just the one or like Doom becomes the new Kang, where he's got like all the multiverse versions of himself. Like either way would be kind of cool.
I mean, he was the villain of Secret Wars in the comics. How are you gonna do Secret Wars without him?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're talking about the same company that did Infinity War without Adam Warlock. So,
but yeah, so there's that. Like you said, there is some good, there is some bad, mostly bad, but there's some good with, in my opinion, as far as being able to take a little bit more time with certain things. One of the things I was going to mention with Deadpool, and I don't know the validity of this, but one of the things I heard is because of the writer's strike and the fact that Deadpool is still staying in production, unlike a lot of the other things, is he can't improvise, and he has to stick strictly to the strip. And I'm like, I'm really scared about that because that's not only Deadpool's whole thing, that's Ryan Reynolds' whole thing. Like that's the magic. I don't know, like, how you're supposed to be able to do a Deadpool movie like that without giving him free reign to be himself. And so I'm really nervous about that.
I'm not stressing that part. I think they can find a workaround on that.
But beyond that, the what I was going to say is one of the things that's kind of good with delays is, we talked a while back with the new Star Wars movies they're trying to do. And it seemed like they were trying to rush out the next one with Daisy Ridley.
Yeah.
If they can take a little bit more time on that, I'm all for it. Mm-hmm. Also, give a little bit more time for things to air out, as far as like still distancing ourselves at least a little bit more from the sequel trilogy. Again, I am not someone that hates the sequel trilogy. Just give it a little bit of breathing room. It doesn't have to be 50,
it is pretty soon, I feel like.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a decade or more like we did between the prequels and the sequels. But just an extra year or two, I think, would actually do a lot for them. It would build, distance or whatever makes the heart grow fonder. So,
I agree. But yeah, more of the story, guys. There's some good, there's some bad in these delays. We all knew it was coming. It feels like every other month we're getting some update with Disney as far as delays goes. So I'm honestly not shocked. I'm just hoping I can at least see Secret Wars. I was actually just talking to my sister about this earlier. She's feeling the same boat because she's a lot older than me. She's going to be 40 around that time when Secret Wars comes out. So she's not happy about that. She's like, I just want to be alive and see how this stuff ends. So let's just hope the world doesn't go to crap and we can at least see these movies. Like priorities, right? We want to see Avengers Secret Wars before the world goes to crap. But you guys let us know down below what you guys feel about these delays. Are you super excited that now Deadpool 3 has been bumped up? It's less than a year away. It took that Captain America spot. What are you guys most excited to see out of this list of movies? But yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much where we're going to wrap it up there. But before we get going, I just want to remind you guys one more time to please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Like I said earlier, we're really trying to hit that 1K sub mark before the end of the year. I know we can definitely do it. We just need y'all's help. Got a lot of great content coming. And Andrew's actually been doing quite a lot of giveaways over on his Instagram. He just gave away 2 awesome art prints from the Across the Spider-Verse film. Didn't you announce another one if you want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, I'm both giveaways are done, but the first one was I gave away 2 posters from Across the Spider-Verse. Second one was I gave away 2 free tickets to Ranger Stop, which is a big Power Ranger convention up in Atlanta that's happening this coming weekend. So mailed out those tickets just yesterday. Cool. So you know, I don't know when I'm gonna get around to the next one, but definitely check me out on Instagram and TikTok. My name is right there at Andrew is Losing. I do some of that stuff, but I'm also posting some content on there with like my Funkos and a few other things that I have planned for that. So, you know, follow us on our socials. We have a lot going on.
Yeah, guys, we also have another giveaway. We're trying to figure out now. I have some really cool Spider-Man fine art prints that are hand numbered from BattleNet Gallery. I'm still deciding how I want to do that giveaway, and we're talking about some other type of things. So we're going to start doing more giveaways on the channel nonetheless. So make sure you guys just subscribe, hit the notification bell so you guys are notified. Follow us on our socials, follow the TikTok so you guys can be updated on everything. With that being said, we greatly appreciate you guys taking the time to check out our video. I think the next thing we post up will be our spoiler review of The Flash, because we'll both be seeing it this Thursday. And then after that, it'll be Secret Invasion time. I cannot wait to talk about that weekly. That show looked hyped. It gives Winter Soldier vibes. I think Marvel's back to what we all love. But yeah, The Flash, Secret Invasion is in the future. But until then, see you guys next time.